on the relational side, if you, let's say you had a breakup or something like that, and you're like, or maybe you were the one who did the breakup and you know you could get them back, but you don't know if it was the right decision, blah, blah, blah. Like writing out every reason that you did it because you forget. And this is the whole point about punishment fades and reward sticks, is that in the moment of pain, after she comes back and she's crazy, you have to remind yourself of all the shit, of all the things that you know you will forget. So it's almost like you writing a warning letter to your future self of like, don't forget about this. Remember the time she keyed your car, she did it again, right? Like you have to put all those things down so that when you're in that moment of nostalgia looking back, you know what, those were the good old days. You know, she wasn't so bad. Maybe I was being a little bit unreasonable. You can read it again. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe, thank God I made that call. But that way you don't actually have to then waste the next 6 months relearning the same mistake again because you already documented it in an artifact.
Sometimes the person who is left behind, they say, why do you have to focus on the bad things? Why do you have to focus on the bad parts? Why can you not focus on the good things? It's because the bad parts are a multiplier by 0. It means that literally the bad parts can invalidate anything good. Take this example. Let's say you have a boyfriend and this boyfriend is very sweet and nice and you know he is everything that you ever wanted. However, once in a while he gets drunk when he goes to the clubs, he does all sorts of things, and then when he comes back home, he, I don't know, punches your face. But then afterwards he comes back, hey, I'm sorry, gives you flowers, treats you nicely, but he goes over the top to repair his mistake, but then he repeats the same patterns over and over and over again. What happens? Well, then the punching in the face becomes a multiplier by 0. Meaning, it doesn't matter that 6 days a week he treats you well, let's just say. It doesn't matter that he buys you flowers. It doesn't matter that he, I don't know, does anything that you want and he is the perfect person outside of that punch in the face that happens regularly and it just doesn't stop. The multiplier by 0 means it invalidates everything.
Everyone just started laughing. It's like, for fuck's sake, everyone laughs.
Yeah.
Like, I do get the sense that trying to bring forward humor as a tool. How do you think about that?
Humor is useful and you can be used as a tool when you process an event, something happens, and the story that you tell to yourself can either be a drama, either can be a comedy. And from my experience, it's a lot better to tell a comedy story than to a drama story, because the drama comes associated with this feeling of dread. Like you feel like you are dying. You feel like things are sinking in. Feels like life has no more meaning, and you lose the whole sense, the whole passion for life. However, if you process things with a slight sense of humor, then that spark of life still exists. Like you can still move on. You can still, no matter what happens, you can choose to look at the kind of the funny side about it. And again, that really keeps that spark of aliveness going. Then we have playfulness. Playfulness is really the ability to see things from like a perspective. Like you can look at things from a different angle. You look at something, like something happened, and instead of like just going like, no, this is what happened, this is the situation, blah blah blah, you put all this seriousness, all this weight, all this drama to it. Playfulness is like, actually I could look at it this way. Actually, if I look from this angle, it looks like that. And then let's say you engage with it, something comes your way, but I don't need to respond to that. I don't need to react like this. I don't need to feel like this. This is playfulness. Playfulness is really your ability to respond proactively to events in your life in real time, like choosing how you feel. I had this coaching call yesterday, and one of my clients were really down under the radar. Or they had one of those days you can look at them and go like, oh, it's like it's raining in their field, like things are bad, and it's just like I could see it. And I asked him, I said like, well, what's going on? Why are you like this? And he said like, well, I feel like the passion, I feel like the passion for life has gone or something like that. And it feels overwhelming to restart over and over again and find myself at the same spot. And I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like there are no options. There is no way out. I feel like trapped. And I look at him and I say like, yeah, but okay, what if actually you would choose to have a different attitude to the current events? The current events, the facts cannot be negotiated. Okay, this is how much money you have in the bank account. I don't know, your wife left you or cheated on you with your best friend, and whatever bad situation you're going through, and most of the times there are multiple things coming together when people are feel so bad. There are multiple things, but whatever is the situation, okay, that's the fact. But how you apply yourself, like what is the attitude that you adopt towards the very facts, make a very, very big difference. And I told him like, but you do realize that you can choose to listen to the negative voices, all these stories coming up like, oh, you're not good enough, you're never going to succeed, you are trapped, there is all these words and feelings. You can choose to believe them, or you can choose to respond and go like, wait, hold on a second. And my client is highly intelligent. He's a very competent man. He's always looking to grow, and he is like way above what you would consider an average human being. I said, you have all these things working for you, but you have forgotten, because you believe the stories, you believe all this negativity here, and there is no positive voice that responds to that. When you do that, well, guess what? The conversation becomes more balanced. And at one point he asked me like, okay, but if I have multiple voices in my head, which one should I identify with? Should I identify with the positive voice? And I said, no. Most of the times you are all of them and none of them, but in reality you are more, the closest you are to the observer, the one that observes that conversation between the negative side and the positive side. Hopefully you also have that, right? And you are the observer, you are the judge of what makes sense here. They have a conversation, you go like, I see what's going on. And I said, even better yet, there is also this role that most of us have, but we don't recognize, is that we are also the director. The director is somehow behind the observer who says like, okay, now, hey guys, just like in a movie, here is plot twist. Here is what we would do from here. And this is what I proposed to my client. I said like, wait, are we going to make this movie a drama from now on, or are we going to make it like an action movie, something fun, something exciting? You choose, because you are also the actors, the voices, you are the observer, the one that watches the movie, and you are also the director who says what's next. And when you realize that as a director, it's very good to have a sense of humor. It's very good to adopt the plot twist and where things go in your life, in the movie of your life, with playfulness. Because this is something that is always available to us, but most people don't realize. Most people identify with one of those voices. Most of the times when they feel down like this, they identify only with the negative voices. Most people, they have like 500 negative voices. There is no positive voice. And then they identify only with the negative voices. Like whatever they say, it's me, it's true. And the reason why we believe those voices and we never question them, as opposed to when someone else, like literally another person, says things to you, the reason why we believe that we tend to adopt it instantly is because it comes from an inner voice. It comes from the inside, and it feels like it's me. You see, when, let's say, imagine, I said this to my client, imagine that you're in a room, and in this room, there are other people, I don't know, just people that when you enter the room, these people says like, oh my God, this guy is like so stupid. He will never succeed. Like, look, he has no way out. He is super incompetent and his life is a mess and will always be a mess. Imagine a room of people where everyone talks bad about you in front of you, literally loud voice. You can hear them, you can watch them. What would you do? And he said, well, I would just like tell them to fuck off, and I would just leave the room because I shouldn't be there. Exactly. When in our mind we have all these negative voices that talk bad about you, most people don't recognize that, wait, I don't need to trust this. I don't need to believe this. I can choose to either respond with something positive, again, objective things, not bullshit, not positive affirmations that are not true, but truth, right? I can choose to respond, but more importantly, I have to take a step back and observe what's going on and decide what I want to, like what I can see here, and then in the role of the director to choose which way things go from here, because your life is lived until this point. Like until this point, right now, when you have this moment, you are here. That's the movie, the movie, how it played so far. It's okay, you know the past, and you know, boom, you are here. But the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, it's up for you to direct, to write a new script and go like, okay, here is where we go here. And back to my client, this is what I said. I asked him, okay, after this, I said, I asked him, I said, how do you feel now as opposed to when we started the coaching session? And he said, he did think about it, and he said, I feel more balanced. I said, now you see you're in the role of the observer, right? And I said, great, now let's step into the role of director. And I'm asking you, what's next? What do you want to do? And he said, well, you know what? I'm going to take some positive action towards a project in the right direction. I'm not going to let these feelings to keep me stuck. And then I'm going to go connect with my family, and I'm going to hang out with my friends. And I also added something. I said, great. And then I want you to go outside, adopt like a straight body posture, adopt this attitude towards life, towards whatever you are dealing with, choose who you want to be, and walk straight. Like really enjoy life, because, well, really the power is into choosing what's next.
He was so humiliated, and he was like, don't fucking joke about it, blah, 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 blah. and obviously we're 11, right? And so his mother, when she saw it, cracks up at this happening, even though he's like super serious about it. And she says, you are going to laugh about this in a few years. Your tragedy plus time is comedy. If it becomes that eventually, then you might as well have it now.
But unfortunately, your tragedy plus time equals comedy is not true for everyone. Depending on the approach, some people process past with they encapsulate that and they label it, they put it in a box with drama, negativity, victimhood. And you see that the choice is always there. You choose what label you put on the past boxes. You can choose also what is inside, because yes, the facts are always there, but we make stories. We tie together the facts, what happened, with meaning, with explanations, with stories. And that is exactly what makes the difference between that turning at some point later into comedy or into drama and dread and feelings, feeling bad about your past and reliving that over and over and over again. Imagine this. If you have an experience and you process that and you label it, you put in the box all the negativity, all the bad things that happen, all that dread, right? And then you label the box bad things, okay? Now imagine that for a lifetime, whatever years and decades you have left to live, that box, first, is only going to be there. Second, every time when you open the box, you are going to get the same feeling. You're going to get like a fast download of all that dread. And oftentimes this will going to happen just by looking at the box. Just by looking at the label on the box, you already have instantly downloaded what otherwise potentially is encapsulated, compressed drama and suffering for years. Just imagine you have a bad relationship, and let's say it's mostly bad, and what you put in the box is mostly the bad things, the worst things, right? And you put that label, the victim, I'm a victim, this was bad, I suffered, all of that, right? The moment when you are going to randomly connect with that box, let's say 2 weeks, 3 months, 5 years later, you are going to have all that box, all that negativity download into you, into your soul instantly. And that gives a feeling of like, oh, like it's so fast and it's so painful, because what otherwise was spread over the course of like whatever the relationship was, let's say like years, all of that concentrated dread downloads into your soul instantly. And you can imagine the pain is not really spread out. The pain is like it hits you like a hammer to the heart. And this is why it's so important to be very careful how you process events and things from the past, because once you process them and you label them and you put them in the box and you forget about them, you don't really forget about them. They're always going to come back. There is always going to be things in the future that somehow are going to remind you of that. And every reminder to that, imagine you end up a relationship, you live in the same city, and every time when you go to the same places, you remember those moments. And of course, this tends to fade away in time, but for some very long time, you might get a reminder every single time. Oh, I was here, I was at this restaurant, we were at this park, we were here and there. And that is going to be every time you get the dagger to the heart, because what you have put in the box is exactly that. So one more time, the role of the director to choose is, okay, we have finished this scene, this stage of my life, it's done, but how do I label it? What is inside of, what do I want to put in this box? And you might think like, okay, so then is the solution to that just putting positive things in the box, so such that when I connect with this in the future, it's not going to hit me like a hammer? No, it's more like you can put everything truthfully, but at the same time, understand that the overall idea of the box and the content inside is actually positive. And that is because it actually is. Even if you had a bad relationship and you, throughout the relationship, you have suffered, things happened, and you would qualify that as a bad relationship. In fact, there are no bad relationships, because this was absolutely necessary for you to progress through life. Like each person in our life gives us a unique challenge that we ourselves have to deal with. Again, I go back, I oftentimes say this, it's because I personally believe, I cannot prove this, but I believe that the creator made a perfect design. Like life is a perfect design. It's a flawless design, meaning everything happens for a reason. And even if you think like, oh, I don't believe in destiny, I'm not saying destiny, but everything eventually develops some sort of meaning, some sort of reason, because everything is tangled. All the past experience somehow build you towards something different and to a different, a future version of yourself. And oftentimes you're going to see this when you look back in your past and go like, oh my God, I used to think that this relationship was bad. And yeah, it was pretty much, I suffered a lot, but look at how much this experience, this person, how much great things they have done for me, because now I'm a different person. I've graduated from that version of myself, and that is literally because of the person, because of the experience. And then you can only be connect with like gratefulness towards the person and the experience and the relationship, or whatever happened. So now when we go back to the question, okay, should I put only positive things in the box? No, put everything, but wrap it with gratitude, appreciation, humor, and playfulness. And then your whole experience of life is going to be very different, because we don't have just one box. Think about if you're in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, how many relationships you had, how many people, projects, things you have done, events happened, and all these are boxes in your past that we collect. Imagine what happens if all the boxes are full of negativity, drama, dread, suffering, victimhood. What is your life moving forward? Because your life moving forward is going to be just randomly connecting with those boxes, today with this one, tomorrow with that one. And if they're all negative, then that you're constantly live like that. You're going to constantly live in hell. And I'm saying, in order to live a good life, at least one thing that you have to be careful of is be careful how you pack those boxes, because boxes are not You don't pack them and you forget about that. They go, it's done, it's the past. No, those boxes always follow us. It's the baggage that we carry with us. And yeah, like I said, you can always decide what you choose to carry.
What does creating a company worth working hard for mean?
I think it's a combination of the micro environment within the company and then the global reinforcer that the company stands for. And making the company worth suffering for or worth working hard for is about, number one, making sure that where we're going is a place that people feel inspired to work towards, right? I think this is worth doing. On the micro, it's, okay, how can I make the work environment something that people want to come back to?
And also there is a misconception these days, which became very popular, but is also very untrue, that the customer is the king, is the boss. Like we are always serving the customer. In fact, the client is not really the most important thing in a company. The most important thing in a company is the employee. Because without an employee, there is no company, there is no workforce, there is no product, there is no service, there is nothing to sell. You see this idea that our client is our boss, our customer is the boss, we serve the customer, builds this otherwise unhealthy work culture where the employees are slaves. And everyone is a slave to the customer, to the client. Whatever the client wants, that's what should happen. And this is like very simplistic view onto the marketplace and how things really work. Oftentimes when I speak with some business oriented people and some of my clients, I say, hold on a second. When we reach to this topic, I said, hold on a second. What if actually you make your employees the most happy people on this planet? And not just by happy, you give them bonus and rewards and high salary, but also give them meaning, purpose, autonomy, and agency, such that they feel like they are really growing themselves, they are growing their life, they are expanding their capacity while they're contributing something meaningful to the world. This is how you empower your employees. And I say oftentimes, what if you adopt this view? Because then let's look at how things go down the road from that, setting that as a top priority. Okay, so if your employees are happy, they are going to create the best product, they are going to provide the best service, because it's very well known that we perform at our best when we are in peak state. Have you noticed when you're in a bad state, when you feel down and all of that, everything is bad. You cannot really speak properly, you cannot really communicate, you cannot really connect, you cannot really produce something of value, because the value comes in from inside of you. So how you feel inside is going to be, and is going to be a reflection of what you produce outside. So they are going to match. So now going back to this idea, what if we make the employee the most important person, not the client, not the customer? Then they are going to be in peak state, happy, excited to produce the best product, to provide the best service. And again, produce the best product and provide the best service for who? For the client, for the customer. So then guess what? Now the customer, because the employees are happy, the customer is actually going to get the best product and they are going to get the best service as a result of the priority being on the employee. And when you do that, everything works nice. And it's interesting to see that, well, we are achieving exactly what's good for the client and the customer, but by not focusing on the client and the customer, but focusing on that, the source which produces the product or the service for the customer. You see, just like switching focus makes a very big difference.